Hey, welcome. I'm Quan Tracy Cherry, and this is Belief is Not Required. And thank you for subscribing to the YouTube channel. And this is about this full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo and why it's so important. First of all, please subscribe. Go to the website. Belief is Not Required. Uh, just know that this full moon lunar eclipse, they happen every 18, 19 years in the same sign. And so North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. So we can all be critical assets. Let's just, the glass is half empty, the glass is cracked, the glass is dirty. Well, Virgo just recognizes the flaws. But once you accept those judgments and we move forward with the forgiveness, self first and then others, the getting beyond the division, we go into the compassion and the love and the faith, experiential faith, not blind faith, of Pisces. And so, why this one is important is because Saturn just took his happy ass back into Pisces. Well, he'll be until February 13th, 2026. So, you've heard it here first. And granted, I am consistent energetically, but not necessarily consistent. Anyway, you get the point. So, welcome. But you heard it here first. These next 5 full moons, October 6th, then November 5th, December 4th, January 3rd, 2026, and February 1st, while Saturn is in Pisces. Imagine we're all doing a collective dump over the Pisces age of the last couple thousand years. So get your Christian hats in order. Get your Islamic hats in order. Get your alchemical hats in order. Get your Judaic hats in order. Any place where your belief system is outside of yourself. Yes, these last 2,000 years has been a one big, large gaslighting on the fact that, first of all, that we're the center of the fucking galaxy in the first place, but this gaslighting that the wisdom exists outside of yourself. That's why I'm Stevie Wonder overjoyed that Tavish Carter and I have managed to channel, to create, to become oracles, portals, whatever you want to call us, of our raw material. Yes, I moved away from esoteric astrology a little bit, but only to integrate something that we can all use and embody. So you can go back if you want to do an esoteric study of this North Node in Pisces, South Node in Virgo. Just go back to June of '06 to December of '07. What lessons were you learning then? Where were you humiliated or you didn't pay enough forgiveness forward? So now you have to deal with that 18, 19 years later. I know I have lessons, but these full moons that I brought up and this one coming up on Sunday, Saturn is not only so important because he will be in Pisces from until February 13th, which is the pragmatic Piscean, pragmatic Saturn, father time, one that mythologically swallowed his own children, the first original 5 Olympians. Oh, don't get me started on choking back to fear and patriarchal structures and all of that. But this Saturn in Pisces conjunct Neptune, the ruler of Pisces. So it's like the cosmos is saying, come on, guys, don't you recognize you got to start from oneness first? Each one teach one. Or we are the world. Or two double-headed acts. You cut this way, it's just going to swing back and cut you. And the trick is about karma. It's not just so much that karma's a bitch, because individualized karma is still a function of ego. What about your ancestral karma, your genetic karma, your national karma? Hell, the karma of fucking Kansas City. Just the karma of existing in the physical body. Not so much what you do individually to each other, because again, that's still attaching to uh, Old Testament wisdom, knowledge outside yourself, eye for an eye kind of a thing. But once you start to see the grace that Pisces and Neptune and Saturn is really making best efforts to teach you over these next 5 to 6 months. Because look here in Kansas City, he's making best efforts to get you to pause to say, how have I built my life? On what foundations have I built my life? Now we can go into the inner treasures. We can go into transfiguration. I mean, there's so many Christian symbols, so many Islamic symbols. I love the Sufis with the beloved, you know? So we can get into that aspect of loving ourselves to a point. Well, that's all there is. So, is how we give love. And love, the devil is not in the details. People, stop that saying. Get just what comes out of your mouth is what you create. Love is it. Yeah, just feel that. And it's not about the warm and fuzzies. Even going there is kind of this ego, kind of defensive, I'm going to be cool. We're cool when it's kissing cousins of being cynical. Hmm. And I'm going to be real Christian here. You talk about the separation of sheep and goats? Well, yo, goat, because you're still putting things in a binary. Kansas City, the heartland, just this longitude of 94. The longitude? Yeah, the longitude of 94. So in there, we've got a 30th degree Scorpio rising with this lunar eclipse. And look at Saturn at 30th degrees. So when you have a trine, a supportive angle to an ascendant, supposedly there's no karma. That planet just gets to come out and distribute its resources quite efficiently. And Saturn in Pisces gets its efficiency reflexively through Virgo. People don't realize that Pisces can be real efficient when it has learned that it all balances out in the end. Well, it's all balanced from within. Everything happens for our evolution, for our growth. Okay? And so, how will this affect? I'm going to give these full moon dates again. October 6th, November 5th, December 4th, January 3rd, and February 1st. Now, the difference between the ones in 2026 is that we go from a universal 9 year, 2025, to a 10 year in 2026. So the 9 is where if you're not coming from humanitarian and using your enthusiastic energies to, aspire beyond trans, your greed, to transform your individual greed and self-destruction and self-sabotage are come from the greed. Because the greed is an illusion that you're separate in the first place. Having more of something doesn't necessarily fulfill what's missing within. Check out Will Smith talking about the cliff top versus rock bottom. Cliff top is where you have everything. I think of cliff top people as people like Whitney Houston. I mean, 4 octave voice, beautiful, had everything, peaked at 29, 30 with the bodyguard. And then what happened? Cliff top. You know people like that. So Saturn in Pisces is how have we lended ourselves, how we lean into these so-called spiritual people, righteous people. Oh, come on. You know the duality that's just rampant in the world. And we believe what we see, which is one of my definitions of El Diablo, the devil, is that we only believe in the physical appearances of other people, whether it's their look, whether it's their race, whether it's their gender, whether it's their sex, whether it's their class, whether it's their Hermes. I don't, that's not the point. It's not seeing with the eyes of soul. And that's what the Saturn in Pisces is basically teaching us until February 13th, 2026. Are you seeing with your inner eye, feeling with your authentic heart? And those of us in Kansas City with the last degree of Scorpio on the ascendant and Mars and Libra and Pluto making an aspect to Venus, you can best believe any misalignment of your individual intention, pillar 11, in our raw material, misalignment with your intention, with your community, your family, it'll just backfire. So give yourself at least 4 to 8 minutes before you just react to situation. Go back to the June of '06 to December of '07 and really go through the lesson of what you didn't learn then or where you can apply, like a little tenderness, you can apply a little humility. Now, how does this affect the rest of the 12 signs or you individually? Well, I'm going to pause here because I want it's about I got to meet you. You meet me halfway. Put in the comment sections, email, Instagram, however you, Quan Tracy Cherry, however you need to do it. And then I will respond to your questions. But I'll give you a little taste. Since this is in Virgo and Pisces, well, of course it's going to affect the mutable signs of Gemini, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Pisces. Because that's what the nodal axis of karma, how we feed ourselves, Pisces, through the beliefs about our own wholeness, the beliefs about our interconnectedness, and how we excrete or express that, the South Node in Virgo, is by becoming a specialist, a master at something. Yeah, and many different things. If I say artist, what does that mean to you? We are all artists. We all have a creative spark within us. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Don't hate me or envy me because I found my expression or my expression found me in my early 20s. And I've had to sacrifice, make whole, make a lot of decisions that were not acceptable. Now, there is a whole group of generational people born with Pluto and Scorpio after 1983 that I'm loving. Me encanta, loving it, right? So, Gemini with Mercury in Virgo, South Node in Virgo. You Geminis, what are you feeding yourself on? No judgment, intoxication porn, or just idle gossip, things that seem to be harmless, but you kind of get into the habit of it. So wean yourself a little bit. Sagittarius, with Estrella, goddess of the atomic reasoning, of getting to the subatomic justice of things. It's important for you to be thinking to see all the flaws, but to remember how to reconnect to something larger. So you won't, because I know you do not like to be thought of as petty, right? And then Pisces, oh God, do I love you. Part of the challenge for you is just learning when to act and when not to act. This last year with the North Node in your sign, you've probably been taught how to forgive, which means you've been betrayed, which means you trust. Yeah. So you just need to learn to trust yourself and to no rushing to decisions. And if you have to give up something of value, realize that the more Pisces that you recognize that nothing is lost, it is constantly being transformed and replenished, and that it all balances out in the end. And you can start concentrating on what does it feel like at the end? And how can you live multidimensionally, Pisces? Yes, your heart is not just in September 2nd, 7th, whatever, 2025. It can be in 1985. It can be in 2045. It can be you coming through the vaginal channel, maybe doing some rebirthing, which leads us to beautiful Virgo. I tell you, I think the challenge with you, Virgo, is from our raw material. It's the astral raw material, pillar 6, listening, really developing your third ear, really pausing and hearing the truth. getting off the emails, getting off the IGs or the instant DMs, and listening, whether that's audio recording, whether that's phone, whether that's face to face, but or FaceTime. But it's important that you hear your truth, your inner truth, and that left ear is where it comes through. And if I were going to give you an exercise, I would look at hexagram verse number 17 called following. It is Lake Over Thunder, number 17, Virgo. And if you want to develop your listening skills, no matter who you are, whatever sign you are, whatever you have in the big three, number 17 is for everyone. So, and you can put that in the comment section, and I can answer how that will work for you. Thank you, and there'll be more coming.